Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hopefully, we'll have some people pop in. Sorry, I'm on here a little bit late. Hope that y'all are doing okay. If y'all are curious about what I'm doing, I'm actually just going to water some plants right now. I decided to just walk around while I was doing a live. So, sorry if this is a little bit, I don't know, funny. But how y'all been doing, everybody? Anyways, fragrance life has been kind of interesting. Y'all know that I've slowed down buying designer fragrances, but their designer fragrances are great. I still appreciate them. You get a lot for bang for your buck. Y'all know that. You get a lot of value. But I've started kind of wanting to go for some more. I'm kind of, I don't know. I sometimes get in moods. I do this with all of my hobbies. I tend to do this where I'll get kind of in stages and I'll be interested in a certain brand or I don't know, a certain type of thing, and I'll go through stages. And y'all know that I was into indie a little while ago. Indie's still fun. I still have some stuff to share with y'all, especially around Halloween. I probably should make that sooner than later. I see two people are doing. Yeah, hopefully I can see your comments. Yeah, live chat. Okay, I don't see any comments. But I'm just watering plants if y'all are curious about what I'm doing. So hopefully I'm y'all can see that. How's life? How's life been treating you? I have another niche fragrance on the way, not terribly expensive. For like $120. But I've been selling a lot of stuff in my collection, so I can justify it a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, I haven't been buying as much, and in the future, I don't think I'm going to buy as much either. And I'm curious to see how y'all feel about that. Yeah. I don't know. Do y'all like seeing fragrance reviewers buy up fragrances? You know, have a haul like almost every week. I don't want to say any names. I'm not trying to criticize any fragrance reviewers in particular, and I know haul videos are popular. And I'm not even talking about the Ross people. There's a fragrance reviewer or two, and they seem to have a haul every week or 2 weeks. And sometimes they space them out, but sometimes it's crazy. I don't know how many fragrances they have in their collection. I don't know how they do it, but y'all know me that I like. I don't know. I can't say I'm a minimalist because I have too much, but I like knowing that I can use what I have. By golly, guys, ladies and gents, I don't know. I don't want 1,000. Y'all, be interested to see if y'all want 1,000, or do you think a fragrance reviewer has more credit, is more credible if they do have 1,000 fragrances, or if they have a big fancy display, behind them? Do you think that a fragrance reviewer is more credible if they have a big fancy display? Stephanie Debbie, happy to see you pop in. How you doing? I'm just walking around. Today I felt like being a little bit more active instead of just sitting down. It's been a little bit colder out here, so when I get out here, I like to stay a little bit active. It's not terribly cold, but that's just the tendency I have. I want to move around and do something when I'm outside. If it's even a little bit cold, and the plant needs to cream some not fragrance. So our fragrance gardening. Anyways, what's up, Ben? It's just me, but I'm not getting no sound. Are you not? Okay, guys, the mic covered. I think I was doing that a little bit, and I just got myself back on my data. I don't like to use my data, but it's the only thing that's really reliable. I was using Wi-Fi there a second ago. When I do that, sometimes I have real problems with using my Wi-Fi, and I'm not even too far away from the house or anything. Is everything fine now? No. Yeah. Okay. I'll fix. Okay. Yeah, that was me. No, you're everything y'all have, your PCs, your phones, or whatever you're tuning in on is probably fine. It's just me. So okay, we got the sound. Okay. No, I was just talking about. You're at the Centaur gardening channel. I'm just watering some plants right now and just being a little active. When it's cold outside, I like to be a little bit active outside and you know take care. I take care. I have a green thumb. I like to take care of things and let me see here. There we go, all fixed. That's good. That's good. We're back to normal, guys. We're back in action. So I don't know if y'all heard me when I first started here. When I first popped in on the video. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but it's kind of been on my mind. It's kind of a big topic because I think we all change as far as fragrance lovers go. And what's your scent of the day? Hey there, Randy. Of course, everybody share their scent of the day. I'm wearing if I remember right, it's like Neferetti from Maher Fragrances. I have one of their fragrances I purchased 100%, even though they're kind of a newer company on the scene, and I'm not affiliated with them, but I did love one of their fragrances, so I've been selling a lot for my collection, and I decided to go for it. I had to get it. So I kind of justify it. I have been selling a lot of my fragrances, and kind of justify it because you know, I got a little bit more money right now, a tiny bit right now. So, but how y'all been doing? How have y'all been having a happy weekend? I don't know. For me, guys, I've been going to what trying to actually buy what I've really been wanting. Y'all know, as a fragrance reviewer, I felt like I had kind of had to justify myself, and I kind of was doing the thing where I was blind buying fragrances, and they were good fragrances, and I would make educated decisions probably on what I would like, but I would try to keep in mind maybe what fragrances y'all would like to see, like Bentley Homme Intense. I knew I wanted to try that one, and it had some hype, but I kind of bought it also because I knew everybody wanted a review. But now I'm kind of buying things, at least right now, maybe in the future, but I feel like I kind of want to have a few more specialty fragrances that really suit who I am. So I have another one of those in the mail. Black Mail by Kerosene and Black Hashish from Art Olfacto were certainly my taste, and I know that not everybody is going to be gaga for those. As far as like mass appealing goes, Black Hashish, it's kind of like Black Afghano. Probably not going to be a mass appealing beast. So my scent of the day is Novatus Absolutio. Found it on Macari for a great price. Hey, I've been hearing good things about that Macari. I hope that I got the word out, and I hope that y'all told your friends. Last time we were live, I talked about eBay, um, limiting or possibly, not just maybe. I was suggesting that they were probably going to limit, used fragrance or decanters, and it seems like they're doing that. Maybe if you message them and you're a trusted seller and you have like a 100% like I do, they're still allowing me to sell used fragrances on eBay, but they said it's kind of prohibited, but they won't actually delete your post. If you have I don't know, maybe a bad reputation with any fragrance, or maybe you've made a business out of decanting, it seems like they're going hard after decanters. So if you are into fragrances, buying and selling, it seems like eBay is kind of making moves against fragrances unless they're brand new, sealed in box on eBay. So I don't know, the used fragrance scene. There are Facebook groups. Some people seem to really trust them, have had good experiences. I haven't had a bad experience. I've just never seen anybody sell anything at a price or anything I wanted for a price that I wanted to pay. And when I tried to sell stuff, my prices were below fragrance net prices, and I was going to pay the shipping on top of that, but I didn't have anybody. Even I was selling like what eight, not it was like eight things, and I didn't have anybody even message me with any interest on any of them until kind of like after the point where I was like, I'm after a month of like trying to wait and make things happen that way. I was like, I'm not going to sit here and wait for people to message me and want to trade me with the right fragrance that's the right juice level, and try to wheel and deal all these things. And I don't know, that maybe that scene's not just for me. If you find somebody you can really trust in the fragrance community, I think that I don't know, some people like buying and trading and selling, but if I was to mess with the fragrance community at all that way, I personally would just do splits. And splits is when you find somebody you highly trust and you know them, and they'll either sell you the bottle, and or you can be the person who does it if you want to, and either keep the bottle or decant it out, or buy a decant off of really expensive or maybe a really rare fragrance. And so maybe you don't want all of that juice, or maybe you just want to test it, or maybe that you really like the presentation, but you're not gonna use 100 mils or whatever it is. Anyways, for some people, that's a really good way to go. And again, I've talked about it. I think these niche companies need to sell 30 mil fragrances, because a lot of us buy multiple niche fragrances, especially if they're extracts or highly concentrated. I mean, there's no way we're going to get through 100 mils of a highly concentrated fragrance that's we only tend to wear at a special occasion or only during the winter season. And at least I don't run through fragrances that often. I know it seems like some people tend to put on 10 or 20 sprays. Most of the time I wear samples. I wear easygoing fragrances. My designers half the time, and I save my good stuff for special occasions. And most of the time, I only put on 5, 6 sprays, unless I know I'm going to be outdoors or I know the fragrance needs to get a little bit more push. You know, in my experience, even with 5 or 6 sprays, I have people complain at me. Really, I do, and it's really funny. I put it's not even an extrait or a terribly strong fragrance. And I've had people complain at me with 5 or 6 sprays of, even fresh citrus fragrances. So, anyways, let me get to the comments. But anyways, happy that you got a great deal on your fragrance there, Stephanie Dimming. That Absolutio does look the best to me, also from Havatus Fragrances. It was the one I was most interested in. It looks like a pretty beautiful gourmand. Um, I think Redolescence recently did a video, and everybody has a chance to win in his giveaway a 50 ml bottle of that one. I think it was, and hopefully I get that one. I would love. I usually don't win anything, but who knows? That would be fun. But Jay Z says I just picked up Replica by the Fireplace, and by the Barbers plus Cafe Tuberose. Now I haven't tried Cafe Tuberose. I don't know much about it, but I'm assuming it's like a coffee tuberose, and I bet it's pretty good. Y'all know By the Fireplace is really good. Some people say it's way too smoky. Y'all know how much I like smoke. Actually wish the smoke was more intense and lasted longer. But it's actually a very unisex fragrance. It's actually very wearable, more than you would think. But there is a lot of smoke off the top, and some people, I've seen people say that Rhyolite by Happy Land is a smoky fragrance, and yeah, it might feel smoky, maybe a little bit, but it doesn't smell smoky to me at all. But we're all different, and it's just funny how some people really seem to pick out smoke, even out of incense fragrances. Incense fragrances, and because they associate incense or that feeling. Sometimes incense fragrances can feel smoky, but it's not a smoky fragrance. It doesn't actually have any smoky smell or element to it, but it just makes them think of it. So that's always a funny thing with fragrance. Y'all know we all have memories, and all of our minds kind of work in different funny ways. So let's see. Let me get to the compliments. But anyways, I'm happy that you got some new good fragrances right there. Those will work really well for you. Based on Margiela fragrances, from my experience, seem to be pretty wearable. They're not terribly expensive, so they can be a really good step into the niche world as well. They're one of those companies that's, you'll get something a little bit creative. Some people don't think the price is justified. The quality isn't super uber, but neither is the price. If the price isn't $300 or $400, it's something more manageable, and you get some creativity. You get a little bit higher quality. I think they're a pretty good house. Under the Lemon Tree's nice. I think that was one of my favorites, and By the Fireplace. But I haven't tried. I mean, I've tried some other ones, but I haven't tried, like, I think it was called Set Sail or something, which I think some people really love that one. But I'll have to jump into more of that Maison Margiela. So Ronald Japinga says, "Evening, hey, how you doing, everybody?" And sorry if I'm getting to your comments slowly. Y'all know that I read through them and then kind of talk through what's going through my head. So, but happy to see you, Ronald, and everybody, Olfactory Zone, and Pete, and Charlie Brown, and Stephanie again. Y'all are awesome. Happy to see y'all pop in. Let's see here. Evening scent of the day is Zara True Leather. I've been hearing that Zara came out with some new fragrances. I heard that one of their new ones, what was it called, like Dark Black or something like that? And it was one that was similar to Tobacco Vanille. And if it's, even somewhat close or a pretty good clone, or, does a good job, I can see a lot of people liking that. A lot of people are crazy about Tobacco Vanille. I respect it. Some of these fragrances that are big favorite fragrances, I respect them, but I'm not gaga for some of them. And Tobacco Vanille is one of them. Y'all know that I'm sensitive to clove. I respect the fragrance. I don't find it terribly complex. It does have some richness and some depth to it, but I wish it had a little bit more something to it. And the clove to me is awful spicy, and clove is a funny thing for me, and it's just a note that I for some reason handle love. So, anyways, yeah. So that Zara looks good. Tell us more about that True Leather. Are you loving it? Do you think Zara's worth it? I've never been to a Zara store. I've never actually seen a Zara store in my entire life. The world's funny. I remember going to college, and there was this noodle bowl company. I can't even remember what's the name of it is exactly. And it was like a new upcoming company that became really popular and kind of, I think they even went international, and they were like a fast food noodle company. And supposedly everybody in the class knew what it was, and I was a down home Southern boy who never even heard of the company, and I've still never even seen it. And I've traveled a good bit. I've been to Nevada and Utah, and I've traveled around, and I've been through some big cities. I haven't explored a lot of them, but I've driven through and been to a couple places in a couple big cities. I've been to New Orleans a couple times, and I've never seen it. I've never done seen them. So yeah, never been to Zara, and what's that other one? It used to be called Gorilla, Gorilla Perfumes. I can't remember right now. They have one called Dirty. That's a mint fragrance for, I guess, when you smell dirty. I kind of wanted to try that one. So let's see here. What's up? Hey, All Factory Zone. How's life treating you? How's the fragrance world going for you? I hope that you're doing okay out there, All Factory Zone. Um, Getting in the zone, huh? So, Pete Galardro, happy to see you. Sent to the day, Jubilation 25. A man after my own heart. You know how much I like that fragrance. I think it's something special. It's interesting. It's unique. I think it's pretty wearable, even though it's unique and it's pretty powerful. I find it very interesting. And it's classy, and I don't find it unwearable. And Jubilation 25 to me, it might be, if it, again, y'all have heard me say it, but if any fragrance, in my opinion, deserves the crown of niche fragrances for like wearability and creativity and how good that fragrance is, and at a reasonable value for money, even though it is expensive, it's an homage. But compared to some of these other fragrances, $500-$600 fragrances, to me, Jubilation 25 is kind of the king of fragrances. To me, it's kind of corny. I don't like people saying that stuff, and I've done videos about that, like talking about, I think it was Aventus back in the day, but that's just me though. That's just me. But sorry. So I'm done with the watering, at least for right now. So if y'all are curious about all that water noise, I was doing some quick gardening. So let's see here. But sell underground, get a trench coat, hang around the street corners. Hey, buddy, what a decant? Yeah, man. The eBay are putting the decanters out of business. Some people have built their lives and built like small businesses around decanting fragrances through eBay, and they're kind of shutting them down. So now they're going to be on the street. Uh, who knows what's going to happen now? It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Hey, it's like, hey, buddy. Uh, what was that thing? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like the trench coat with the watches. It's an old cliche, but I guess there's some truth to it. Some traveling salesmen who kept things in their like old pocket watches back in the day. Um, it's a joke. I think they put it in Hercules by Disney, and like it's like I don't know if y'all remember that, but it's in there. It's an old cliche joke. It's kind of funny, and I think it's in a couple other movies. So, but yeah. Anyways, Pete and Galardro says, "Has anyone tried Amore Oud Tobacco? With Amore Oud, I've tried. It's called like Whetstone, and I think I've tried another, but every sometimes I get into these houses and I think they're new, and because they're new fragrance houses, I assume they have 5 or 6 fragrances or something, and then you look at them, and then they have like 20 fragrances. Amore Oud has a bunch, and I haven't tried all of them though. I haven't tried Oud Tobacco, but it looks good. I'd love to try that one. It looks like a really nice fragrance. So, again, hey there, Charlie Brown. I'd like to hear more. Y'all know I like tobacco. So, again, Stephanie says, I agree. 30 mils is plenty for me with as many fragrances as I own. Yeah, if you're somebody with over 100 fragrances, and especially if you're getting into niche fragrances that are highly concentrated and extracts and stuff like that, 30 mils of an extrait, I mean, that'll last you forever. That's got the potency of pretty much 100 mils, and one or two or three, even three sprays is more than enough. And yeah, it's like you don't need 100 mils of an extrait. I guess unless you really love the fragrance and it's your signature scent, and maybe you wear it all the time. So I'm just gonna hang out over here. Hopefully that's okay. And I wasn't gonna say anything, but hopefully the American flag, YouTube. Hopefully people don't dislike that. But let's see here. 30 mils, absolutely. That's more than enough. What's up, Ben? Hey, Fragrance Journey. How's it going, my friend? How's life been treating you? Anything new? Anything for new? You? Any new fragrances? I don't know. Are you a big fan of a Black Afghano by Nasomato? I recently got Black Hashish, which I've been wanting for a really long time, and I think it's a little bit more wearable. I'd be interested to see if you like that. If you like that one, you might end up liking Black Hashish like I do. Really nice, and I think I might have to get that Hindu Kush by Mansara sometime. I know everybody's talking about Mansara, but Hindu Kush is one that I've been wanting for a while. So, Adz, happy to see you. I'm curious about your name. The only time I've seen ads, it was like a certain type of like tool that I think the Egyptians used a lot. And yeah, tell us more. It's almost like a chisel on a handle. It's a funny tool. Supposedly, I think they used them supposedly for a lot of their, I don't know, making the pyramids and stuff. But I like your review of Atkinson's 3 days ago. It's an underrated house. I love Majesty, the Oud, and Oud Save the King. Absolutely. Atkinson's is a really nice house. There's a lot of houses that are really under the radar. And again, I'm not trying to criticize the fragrance community, but especially with these bigger fragrance reviewers, I guess I can put some criticism to them. They're doing, they're playing the YouTube algorithm game. What are people searching for? What do people want to see? And they're not going to take big risks on an unpopular fragrance that's not searched for a lot and is heard of a lot, unless maybe they get a free fragrance or something, or maybe even more, some money in the pocket. So Atkinson's is a great brand. Penhaligon's is pretty underrated. Ormond Jane, at least in the YouTube fragrance community, is really underrated. There's a lot of houses. You can go on Lucky Scent right now. Go to luckyscent.com, even if you don't have the money, and maybe treat yourself and make a big list or write down a list of samples and things you really want to try if you do want to dive into niche a little bit. And that's what I did. I did that a couple of times and really got myself kind of started to understand my taste and my style and what I liked, and I explored a lot of the houses and things I wanted a lot faster. Again, I don't know where a lot of these boutiques or places that possibly sell these fragrances are. Again, I'm in a smaller town, in a smaller place, and I don't think I'll have access to any of I normally wouldn't have any access to any of those fragrances. But anyways, hopefully some of y'all use my link. Again, I'm not affiliated with Fragrance by CA or anything. Anytime I use a link, and I probably should. I don't think there's anything against it. I just had some people complaining at me that I was using affiliate links when I first started. I did a little bit of that with Amazon, but I never actually made any money off of any affiliate links. The only time I made any money was when somebody actually, I got an Amazon membership through one of my links. They didn't even buy anything, and I think I got like $3, and I don't even know if I ever got that money. So, guys, they had it on Fragrance by CA when I did my video a couple days ago. Again, a fragrance that normally is about $200 for like $85, and if you can get discounts if you buy enough fragrances with them, or if you join their newsletter, you can get free shipping or 10% off, or you could just buy 5 fragrances and build enough points up to you get 10% off without even this. They have like 4 sales a year, something like that, and everybody waits for it. Last time they did it, they sold out of almost everything. It was crazy. Their prices are already kind of the best of the best, and then they have 10% off and free shipping. They kind of cleared house, and it was kind of crazy. But yeah, Oud Save the King is one of the best creamy fragrances out there. It's one of the best. It's also a really nice entry level oud fragrance, but it's not scary. It's pretty wearable, and Atkinson's is a solid house. So, loving it. Thanks. Absolutely, Olfactory Zone. I'm happy to help. Happy to hear for you. Randy Hader says, "How's the weather been?" Weather's not bad. y'all know that we're getting into the winter, so it gets dark a little bit faster. Normally, I had about an hour to talk to you before it started getting dark. Now I have about 30 minutes before it starts getting dark on us. So I don't know how long I'll be on here, but we'll see how good the conversation is. But I'm just taking it easy out here. It's not bad. The mosquitoes, it's getting colder. They're starting to simmer down. So the mosquitoes go away, but it gets a little bit cold. So, but it's not bad. Anyways, you know it. Absolutely, the olfactory zone. You know it. Loving it. You know, making me think of McDonald's. But Adzi says, yes, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, that name sounds familiar. And I know not everybody knows, and that was a really weird thing to mention. So I'm happy that I'm connecting with some like-minded people. I was a weird kid. I'm still into knives, and I don't know tools of any sort. I've never been an engineer, but maybe if I was, it would have been encouraged when I was younger. Maybe I could have gone that route because I do love knowing how things work together. And I used to try to understand schematics, and sometimes I do find them fascinating with certain machines to look up schematics. But anyways, yeah, when I was a kid, that we had a history book on all these different types of historical weapons and things, and ads was like a certain tool, and I remembered that. So, anyways, yes, you're right. Mike says Hudson says hi. I'm here, but love your videos. I just got an old 75 mil of Creed Royal Delight, and I was wondering what your thoughts are on it and if you've smelled it. I haven't tried that one. That one must be a discontinued vaulted one. There's a couple of them I haven't tried. One of the ones that's kind of forgotten about that I really liked was Royal Scottish Lavender, but I would, you know, for me, in my humble opinion, you're paying a lot for it's almost like something that's an antique, you know, like an antique car or anything where the price is really up there, higher than it should be. And yeah, I'm sure that's a good fragrance. I think Royal Scottish Lavender is really nice. Green Valley was really nice. I think Green Valley is better than Green Irish Tweed. I think they discontinued the wrong one. And it's an amazing fragrance, but is it worth upwards of six, seven, $800 for the green, the Green Valley? No, I don't think so. And the Royal Scotch Lavender, if you did find a bottle that was like brand new or maybe partially used with a lot of it left, I don't know. You probably have to pay 3, 4, 500. So it's to me, there's plenty of other fragrances that smell just as good or do a great job, and you can find something out there for a better price. I mean, it's not going to be exactly the same, but anyways, I bet that's a good one. Royal Delight. I'll have to look that one up and try to remember to look it up after this. So it says, do colognes repel mosquitoes? None over here in Ireland. Oh, from Ireland. Happy to see you, my friend. I got a little bit of Irish blood in me. I don't know if y'all have seen me talk about that. We're all a mix of a lot of things here in the USA. But a bunch of our family took some tests and things, and we're mostly, of course, again, we're mixed with a lot of things, but we kind of like, you know, some people are a mix of everything. They don't have anything dominant. We're a little bit dominated, like 30 to 40%, kind of a mix of Welsh, some, you know, some English, but also mostly Welsh, Irish, maybe some English influence, but also German. You know, my mom's side, definitely very German. So I kind of that's kind of funny. But again, Americans, we're all mixes. People joke and say we're all mutts, but it's a funny world. So yeah, happy to see you, my friend, from over there in Ireland. Wonderful place. I hope to visit there one day. I would love to visit, and I love the accents and all that. So, but anyways, back to your question: do colognes repel mosquitoes? I think that they can. If you had a fragrance that smelled like blood, like Bull's Blood by Imaginary Authors or T-Rex by T-Rex by Zoologist, you might actually attract them. I don't know. That'd be funny to test. But a lot of fragrances have something called citronella, which is actually a plant that's used in sometimes candles around here in the South, and places where it's actually a natural mosquito repellent. It's a plant. I think there's some other plants that also sometimes repel bugs and mosquitoes a little bit. I think mint does a little bit, and I think like tarragon, or there's a couple herbs that kind of do. But citronella is kind of cheap, and it smells kind of like lemon. So it's to some people it might not smell too bad at a distance, but kind of up close, it doesn't smell too good. So, but yeah, I think that if with certain fragrances can repel mosquitoes. I don't want to mock or beat up on the people who wear Aqua di Giu Essenza, but y'all know its reputation, and it'll probably repel bugs. So it says when I can't say that word on YouTube. YouTube, I mean, I think YouTube's already kind of, if y'all know what I'm talking about, hidden my channel, tucked it away. But I probably shouldn't say that word. But I know what you're saying there. When it goes away, we can go back to traveling. Absolutely. Hopefully, I'll become successful enough to be able to do that. I want to be that success story. A small boy from a small town actually got out there and was able to travel somewhere and meet some wonderful people. And I don't want to be stuck around here. I speak differently. I think differently. I've kind of talked about this before. I don't fit in with lots of people. I don't have the mindset. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I've had weird things happen around here because I think so differently, act so differently. I've had some guys through Facebook, and they're complete strangers, and I don't know their daughter either, and they like asked me to marry their daughter pretty much through Facebook Messenger, and they're not joking. they're and I don't know who they are, and I've never met their daughter, and because this is a small town, like people are, it's kind of a smaller place in the woods. It's like people still have a clan like attitude, if you'll know what that is, which I thought was terribly strange as well. Um, it's like they think like clans, like family wise, and it's like some people know everybody's family, and it's in real big detail. I mean, it's good to know your family, but they take it to kind of like an extreme, like. But anyways, um, it says, I see. Definitely get there and appreciate it. And appreciate it. What fragrance houses do you think are worth it? I've always been cautious of Creed because of the hype. Niche houses are very expensive. I would go for some of the ones that are kind of upcoming and aren't terribly popular. When a house gets really popular, they know that there's a lot of demand, just like a brand that, people trust that brand, and they know that they can charge more money for that fragrance. And it's economics. It's how fragrances work. And one of the companies I really respect and I really like their fragrance. It's already a $200 fragrance. I think that they probably could sell it for more. I didn't tell them to. They actually told me that they were in the future probably going to put up the price even higher. And when they first started, they were kind of testing the waters, and they had it around 180. And right now, it's at about a little over 200, like 235. And they told me they're probably going to increase the price even more because, of what the quality they put into it. So, but yeah, I think that some of the houses, I think Amouages are worth the money, and you can find them on sale. I think Amouages they give you your money's worth. They're 100 mils. They're highly concentrated, and I don't think they're cheating people. Um, if I was to make you maybe to steer clear of any houses in particular, I would sample or be careful with Tom Fords. A lot of the modern ones, especially, have longevity issues. Maybe you really will like a smell or two, but there's some of them that are really, really hyped. And Tom Ford's a good house. I think that they changed the fragrance game with oud wood and Tuscan leather. And I really liked Italian Cypress, and I liked Costa Zero, but the longevity was terrible. And I'm not a big Tom Ford big fan. I've never really hyped them up. I spoke pretty highly of Ombre Leather, but that was kind of when they first came out, and I think they maybe produced more than they thought they were going to sell, at least initially. And there was a time where you could find bottles of Ombre Leather around for like $80, and now the price has gotten more back to normal, and you have to pay like $150 to get Ombre Leather. And I guess that's doable, but still a little bit much. It's kind of like in their regular collection. Their regular collection stuff's worth it. Bois de Jour is worth the 150 or whatever people pay for it. Um, anyways, yeah. Let's see here. But fragrance houses I would recommend you trying out. I think Ormond Jane's worth the money. I think Ormond Jane's a great house. If you're just stepping into niche, if you've never tried niche, everybody talks about Mansara for a reason. You're getting 4-ounce bottles. You can get them on sale for about $80 if you look at the right places, and a lot of them are more mass appealing. A lot of them have a nice sweet base to them, and I'm not trying to hype up Mansaras, but seriously, if you're just wanting to step into the niche game, it's a brand that's somewhat available, a brand that a lot of people trust fairly decently, and they have a number of pretty big fragrances. There's a reason why Cedroc Boise was hyped so much. So they would be a good one to dabble into. Maison Margiela, which we just talked about, would be a good entry-level niche house. You could try Kirin NYC. They wouldn't be bad to dabble with for a niche fragrance for the price. What are some other ones out there? I'm trying to think. For the price, I don't know. I would dabble again. I would do buy a bunch, get a lot of samples. Maybe see what's worth it to you, because you might figure out that you think that you maybe to your nose and what you smell like, maybe the extra value, the higher quality, isn't worth it. Maybe you think that $80 of designer fragrances smell just as good, or you like that mass appealing quality, and you might find that you actually don't think any niche is worth it. Some people are like that, and I respect that. Some people don't think any designer, and any niche fragrance. Sorry, someone with a motorcycle over there, but they don't think any niche fragrance is worth it, and I respect that. If you're trying to be utilitarian, if you're trying to get your best bang for your buck, buying discounted, designer fragrances on the gray market is going to be the best. But you might figure out that you love quality and that you're going to go all out. It all depends on your price tag and who you are. You might figure out you're crazy for it, and you might want to go for $600 fragrances. For me, I don't know, trading out the naturals for the synthetic accords that smell very similar to the naturals, most of the time, I don't think it's worth it. But sometimes it does pull off a little bit of extra magic, and it would be nice to have some of those. Now, can I afford any of them or a lot of them? No, I can't. But are some of them really, really nice? Yeah, but what you're paying for after the $300 range is kind of like exclusivity. Honestly, after niche fragrance wise, after about the $250, $300 range, past that, you're paying for something because nobody else can afford it. You're being posh, you're being kind of rich, and not everybody's going to smell like that. And also, you're kind of getting into a little bit more of the naturals, which it all depends on what you think. So to some people, naturals are a big deal. You get a little bit of, rare, a little bit more exotic ingredients, and it's a little bit more interesting. And again, you're getting those naturals accord sometimes more than the synthetics. But again, some of these fragrance ingredients are so expensive that even some of the $600 fragrances might have very little real Rose Absolute, Iris, Jasmine, or Ambergris. Even the $600 fragrances don't have a lot of it. If you want to get like a pure fragrance with those kinds of ingredients, you'd probably have to go to some Middle Eastern perfumer who had access, to all of that stuff with the super high quality ambergris, and talk with them and make a schedule, an appointment, be like a high class client, and have the big bucks, and make a bespoke fragrance. And I don't know how much you'd pay for it. Probably $1,000 or $2,000. That's crazy. So, anyways, a little incredibly weird. Definitely let's see here. I've always been curious about Creed. Anyways, I think I might have gotten distracted here with you were asking about Creed. Sorry, and this dog, every time this dog barks, it distracts me. And I've never, for some reason, with my mind, when dogs are barking, it just annoys me. And it's not that I dislike dogs. I actually really like dogs. But when they're barking, Truffles, come here. Hopefully he'll stop. So, anyways, yeah, Creed, for the most part, to me, is overpriced. They're fine, but I think that the big attraction, and to me, what made Creed a special house, was that they had to put a lot of natural ambergris in their fragrances. That was the base. That's what made their fragrances a little bit salty, had a little bit of sparkle to them. And when they first came out, a lot of people criticize Parfums de Marly, and there are some criticisms to be levied against Parfums de Marly. But honestly, everybody, I don't know, some people see Creed as a golden child. Y'all know about Original Santal and Original Vetiver and what was the other one? There's a couple fragrances that they kind of took inspiration from other people's fragrances, and there's some things that happen behind the scenes with like perfumers, and the fragrances weren't exactly terribly special, but uh, but for some reason a lot of fragrance reviewers really hyped them up, especially with was it green? No, I meant green Irish tweed, and got behind Creed because I guess they were the most accessible or seemed as a really reputable brand. And I don't know, Creed has become kind of like a darling in a lot of the minds of a lot of fragrance reviewers and people in the fragrance community. But I don't think they're perfect as a company, and I don't want to beat up on them. They're a fine company, but y'all know my opinions on some of their fragrances, like Aventus and all that they've been kind of bought out, and I have suspicions that they're kind of going to lower their quality a little bit in the future, and I kind of have, of course, I think we should have problems with that. I hope that people are keeping an eye out on how, protecting and helping the actual fragrance buyers in the fragrance community, because in the future, I think Creed, because they've kind of been bought out or merged. I mean, they're testing the waters, guys. I didn't want to talk about Creed, but we seem to almost every live because they're a big topic and a big force in the fragrance world. But with their 10th anniversary edition, they're testing the water with Aventus flankers, guys. There's no doubt. I mean, with the 10th anniversary edition, if they were doing a real anniversary edition, they would have made an Aventus that was really ambergris heavy, or brought it back to like a 2012 batch where it had the magic, it had some of that sparkle, the aroma chemicals, and the ambergris, and even the smoke. Even though it's not the most mass appealing thing, bring back a little bit more of that oak moss and that smoke that really made Aventus tick. But they instead changed it up a little bit, added some leather and some other little notes and some other little tweaks, and make no doubt about it. I mean, Mama didn't raise no fool, as they say in the South, my friends, and I hope that you're not a fool, because Creed's testing the waters with flankers. They're going to be coming out with a bunch of Aventus flankers in the future if this 10th anniversary edition really sells that well. And again, I don't have any problem with companies doing promotions, but I do think that either the company or the person who's getting that promotional item needs to be transparent. There's fragrance reviewers, a lot of them getting up there 5 to 10,000 subs here on YouTube, and they got some of these fragrances for free, guys. They really did, and they got that 10th anniversary edition. Some of them were kind of open about it, which I thought was a good thing, but most of them, 80% of these people who got that 10th anniversary edition, and you can tell they all got them about the same time. They're all talking about them at the same time. They got it for free, and did they tell you that they got it for free? No, and I'm not trying to hype myself up because I'm open, but I think that that is an important thing to tell people, because for some people that's a big deal, and I like to let people decide if they think that I'm being partial or impartial, or maybe they should take my enthusiasm a little bit less if I am enthusiastic about it. But it's crazy, and y'all know that I speak straight with y'all. So, anyways, let's get back here. Definitely, let's get back to the comments. I have a lot. I'll get back to them. I'm sorry about my little rant, but I thought that was important to talk about. That's been something on my mind. I'm speaking straight from the heart to y'all. So, lol, that's incredibly weird. Oh yeah, back with somebody reaching out to me. Yeah, a complete stranger, and the daughter was a complete stranger, and through Facebook Messenger, never met the guy, never met the daughter, and he like writes me a paragraph. How it's not like, hey, I have this daughter who's socially awkward, or like, maybe I saw your personality and I think you would be a good match, and like, would you like to meet? Immediately off the bat, it was like, pretty much, it's like, would you like to take care of her and marry her and all this stuff? And I'm like, I just didn't even respond to it. Like, I don't know. I'm still too much of a nice guy. When I know I'm still 20, but I'm getting in my later 20s. When I was in my first 20s, I don't know. I probably would have been nice and been like, I don't know where. It's like, I'll chat with anybody or meet somebody, but to me that's just so awkward. And I've been through all that, the dating scene and all that. I just didn't even respond. Yeah, that was too awkward. Um, See, how's the weather? I think let's see here. I'm trying to catch up with the comments. Where was it? Okay. I would be furious if my father tried to marry me off on Facebook. Yeah, well, I didn't message this girl and I didn't know who she was and I just let it be and I let it slide. But yeah, imagine, imagine if that was your marriage story. I mean, people would probably keep that a secret. I mean, some people don't even like to say that they met on social media, and I don't care about that at all. That's a whole different thing. But some people think that's too embarrassing. Imagine if your marriage story, and if you were to tell people honestly, was like, yeah, my dad hitched me off on Facebook Messenger. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Anyways, Randy says, any interest in the new Pegasus? Yeah, the Pegasus exclusive. Yeah, I watched Brooklyn Fragrance Lover. And some people don't like, I won't get into that, people liking or disliking. I know some of these guys, they're still fragrance reviewers, and they're not perfect, but I try to love them. And hey, he had a giveaway, so I saw that, and that's a chance. I don't know if y'all saw his recent video, but you have a chance to win. It does look interesting. Supposedly it's a little bit more instancy. Supposedly it's a little bit more warm, and I would like it to have a little bit more depth to it. I was one of those guys. I did feel with the regular Pegasus, I felt it was like almost metallic, but that didn't bother me. I just felt like it was a little bit cold, and I also felt like it wasn't very interesting. So if they change some of that up with the Pegasus exclusive from Parfums de Marly, it could end up really nice. I think they had a good idea, but maybe the original just didn't work for me. So, Mike says, I completely agree with the Tom Ford. I've sampled a few of them and had a problem. I am newer, so pretty vulnerable to the hype. Yeah, when you first get into the fragrance game, you don't know what's good and you don't know what's not good, and you just see what people are talking about, and there's that element of trust, and I completely understand that, and that's a reasonable thing. People following trends, people going with, like, that's almost like a form of a tribe. If there's a movement and a whole tribe is doing something, you want to be a part of the group. You want to connect, and it's kind of like a part of survival. It's kind of like a part of trust. There's a lot of psychology behind this stuff. And it's kind of like why Amazon's so powerful. You see the reviews. You saw that 5,000 people bought this fragrance. And it's a 5-star item. You say to yourself, how could I not like this item? And it builds that trust. 5,000 people. It has an average of like 4.5 stars. I mean, you just buy it and you go for it. So it's kind of the same way with hype in the fragrance community. You see everybody talking about it, and certain things get popular at certain times, and people buy a couple fragrances because there's a big hypes and there's trends. And also it's a big part of the YouTube algorithm as well. And I don't know if YouTube is going to go against me again, for just mentioning it, but again, I like everybody as a fragrance reviewer to do their own thing, to explore samples, to be creative, and to have fun with the fragrance journey in their own way. If top tens and talking about popular fragrances is their thing, and authentically it's their thing, I'm fine with that. But I think that a lot of us are more curious, and I think if you're a fragrance reviewer or deep into fragrances, I think you're naturally a little bit more curious than just these designer fragrances that you can smell all of them pretty much if you just go to your local mall, especially if you live in a bigger city with a really big mall and a boutique with all these designer fragrances. So, yeah, I would like to see these bigger fragrance reviewers actually buy samples or explore fragrances and talk about things that they like themselves. Again, I'm not trying to beat up on anybody in particular, but to me, the biggest blanket examples of this is some of these lady fragrance reviewers who come out of the woodworks, and they start talking about men's fragrances, and sometimes they don't even own them, or if they do own them, I don't know how they got them, but they start reviewing or kind of talking about men's fragrances. I'm like, if I come to your channel and she's a lady, I want to hear about ladies' fragrances, and I want to know what she actually likes. Yes, sometimes it is nice every once in a while to know what a lady might like on a guy, but is that what your whole channel is built on? How'd you get these fragrances? And then they keep growing and growing and growing, and they make their channel all around that. And to me, that's a big problem, because I don't know, if you're authentically a fragrance lover, I mean, you would actually be exploring and talking about women's fragrances and what you wear and what you like. But y'all know how the game is played. But anyways, let's get back to the comments. Thank you so much for your advice. Yeah, absolutely. Check out those brands and go to Lucky Scent. Explore everything. Look at the notes. Look at what's interesting to you. Also, use if you're new to the fragrance world, go to Fragrantica. Fragrantica is a wonderful place of information. Yes, there's lots of people who they don't have to validate themselves or prove themselves as who they are, and they can write anything and everything and anything that they want in that comment section. But there is a lot of pretty decent information there, and it's a good place to start off, like a launch board, to start, may sometimes grasp or understand a fragrance. Yes, sometimes the notes aren't exactly right on, Fragrantica. Yes, sometimes people write ridiculous things, but, it's good to take everything into account, and sometimes they're the best place to go to sometimes to get information. Sometimes they're the only person around who has information on a fragrance. So definitely look into them. Go to Lucky Scent if you are ready to dive into niche and look at everything and just find some things that look interesting. And don't immediately blind buy a sample. You can get the free shipping. I think if you have $100 order and, build up a bunch of samples that you really want to explore. If you live outside of a bigger city, if you don't have access to a boutique, or maybe if you're, really worried about, the bug that's been going around, you can have some fun with fragrances, if you do order some samples. And hey, that would be a great way to go if you're a fragrance lover. So, um, anyways, Stephanie Deming says, Mike, Scent is a great place, a variety of samples. Yeah, Lucky Scent. And there are some other great places. A lot of people like to mention Crystal. There's a couple other companies, and sometimes I mention them on Instagram, but I don't know. Lucky Scent's the biggest one as far as I can tell, with the most variety, and the website's super easy to use. There's Twisted Lily. When I first got into fragrances, I used to deal with them a lot. They're nice. They sometimes have a few fragrances that not everybody has. But there's maybe I'll do another video. I think I did one in the past talking about boutiques or places you can order online. Some people argue that you should only buy fragrances at your local boutique. I don't have a local boutique. Some people say that I should start the boutique. Maybe I should around here. Maybe I should. That's what I should do. But again, I don't want to live around here. I don't want to have to manage a boutique, and I don't want to have. Maybe that would be worth doing, but that's I don't know. But there's no boutiques around here for fragrance niche, and hardly anybody wears fragrances in general, even designer fragrances. So, but anyways. I'm sorry. Haha. I know you must have a lot. Oh, no problems. No, lot sample wise, yeah, but fragrance wise, you all know that I've kind of trimmed down. I've got myself down to about 60 or so fragrances, with, of course, other decants and samples and things. But I've got it down to a manageable size, kind of at this point. And I'm very happy with kind of where the collection's sitting right now. I'm going to sell a couple more, 5 or 6, but I'm really happy. And I have, again, one niche fragrances on the way in the mail, and I'm really excited for that one. So I'll tell y'all what that one is later. Again, check out my Instagram. I'm getting up there, guys. We're creeping up on actually 5,000 on Instagram. Instagram seems to like me. I'm very proactive there on Instagram, and I figured out how to use it a little bit, and they seem to like me a lot more than YouTube does. And there's a lot of wonderful people there as well. If you want to get out, again, Facebook groups are good and all, but there's sometimes drama. There's sometimes cliques. Certain people are friends with certain people, and they don't like, certain people, and they, if you like one fragrance they don't like, they don't want to be your friend and all this nonsense. If you just want to meet some good people, Instagram is a good place to be. And if you message me or tag me or get a hold of me somehow, I'll definitely support you. And if you want me to, I can even give you a shout out in the stories if y'all want to do that. So, yeah, maybe I can build a little fragrance community through Instagram somehow. But I have a lot of fun on Instagram. It's a good place. So, anyways, let's see. Haha, I have a lot. I got into niche from exploring brands like Serge Lutens and Aqua de Parma, so creeds are new to me. Yeah, I mean, definitely try creeds. I'm not trying to discourage y'all from trying creed fragrances, but I mean, I just wouldn't blind buy. A lot of people would trust them. They're a brand that's been around a while. People know about them. People have heard about them. So there are some people who might be willing to just trust them and just blind buy. Like tons of people have blind bought Aventus, and especially if you're trying to get a good deal. I mean, you got to buy from a reputable source. Buy from a reputable discounter like Fragrance Net or Fragrance by CA, or I would not buy a Ventus from somebody on eBay. There's some or any place like that, especially if it's used, unless you really trust the seller and you're wanting to mess with a vintage batch, which is kind of crazy. But some people do that and they spend bungo bucks. Like some people spend $1,000 or $2 on the vintage Ventuses. But anyways, yeah, you can get samples. Some of them aren't terribly expensive, and there's some. If you get into the Facebook groups, there's plenty of people with Creed fragrances. If you want to explore the whole house, they could probably give you a bundle deal and let you try. Some of the really nice ones that are kind of popular. You could probably try Virgin Island Water, Creed Aventus. What was one called Royal Oud would probably be a good one to get a decant of. I like the Spice and Wood. That one's really nice to me. One of my favorites from them. Boise Portugal to me is a really strong release. I'm not super crazy about Original Santal or Original Vetiver. Himalaya's all right. Never been super crazy about it. Silver Mountain Water is interesting in its own way, but I kind of like some of the clones that kind of get rid of the inkiness and the fruitiness to me that doesn't really go with this metallic, a minerally vibe that kind of, and the neroli that's kind of in it. To me, Silver Mountain Water, it's kind of hit or miss. It's some people really like it, but it is really interesting, kind of a fresh scent in a way. It is fascinating. Um, what are some other creeds? I just dive into them, see which one. I mean, look at some of the ones which work for you or not. I don't know. I think Tabarome's kind of a weird one, but some gents like that one. It's more like a lemon tobacco fragrance. But I think it's kind of a weird one. I tried to like it. I wanted to like it. I like tobacco, but Tabarome didn't work for me personally. A lot of guys like Viking. If you like spicy fragrances, you might it almost has like a fresh ambery feel about it. You might really like Viking. Anyways, let's get off talking about Creed. Let's jump into some of the other comments. Here, let's see what we got. Stephanie Deming says, Ben, are you familiar with the house of Terry de Gunsberg? Is that how you say it? I'm thinking of pulling the trigger on a fragrance from them, Declaration Splendide, but they aren't a ton of reviews. No, I'm not too familiar with them. I would get a sample if you can. If they're a newer company, some companies actually don't have samples, which I always encourage these really new companies to do because that's how they're going to get their word out. And especially, again, some people don't like me doing this, but sometimes I don't even reach out to them. Sometimes they reach out to me, and I'm like, if you get samples in the hands of a fragrance reviewer or somebody who has somewhat of a reputation in the fragrance community, that could do you wonders. Getting the word out on your fragrance. So ask them for samples, see if they have a sample, and that's the way I would go. Maybe if it looks really beautiful, maybe if you have some money to burn, maybe you could blind buy it, but of course that's always risky. And again, if you blind buy niche, that's one reason I really discourage it. You're always going to take a big loss, sometimes to sell some of these niche fragrances to make it appealing, even if you've only sprayed a couple times. I've seen people have to sell their fragrance for about 50% less than retail, which is a big loss. You could lose as much as $100 if you don't like it and you really want to sell it. So, yeah, it's a big risk, and even if you do sell it that cheap, sometimes you have to sit on it. I mean, if nobody knows about it, nobody's heard about it, you took a risk and you didn't like it. Maybe they don't want to take the risk, and they already know that somebody didn't like it. So that's just how it goes. So Super Fat Bass says, yeah, Ben, come over to Ireland and the UK. You'd like it. Just don't expect to see the sun too often. What part of Ireland? No, I don't. I'm a MC. I'm not a Mac. I'm a MC, and I don't know what part that would lead me be from. I could message you later about my last name. I mean, a lot of y'all probably already know my last name, but I could talk to you about that if you know. I would love to know if there's more of a history. Around here, there's nobody with my last name, but actually in central U.S., more on the east side, which is I live again more in the south. But there's actually quite a few McFaddens, and again, it's funny. You can go on Google and search what's the estimated population of people with your last name, and my name's not super It's, I mean, my last name isn't, tens of millions or hundreds of millions or anything, but still, there's like a couple million, of my last names going around. So I'd never met anybody. One time when I was in Nevada, there was a electrical company with somebody of the last name just drove by with a truck. It had my last name on it, and and it was like electrician company or something. And I thought that was pretty neat. I'd never seen that before, so I thought I was like kind of an outcast. The name around here is kind of an odd one. There's not too many Irish names or anything like that around here, so it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And I have y'all know my first name's Benjamin and my last name's kind of long. So some people think it sounds fancy too. Anyway, so but yeah, we'll have to chat later if you'd like to, or text or something. Mike says, "Hey, I think a boutique is definitely something to aspire to in the future, but I do agree it's better in a larger city. Yeah, if you live in a larger city, take advantage of it. Figure out where there is a boutique where you live, and you can go there and have a friendly conversation. And if you're new to niche fragrances, the people at the boutique are probably going to be friendly to you. They're probably going to be very kind, and they're going to help you learn about fragrances. They're really going to help you out. And also, they might help you, give you some good advice and introduce you to some fragrances that you might actually like. Like, I try to be a fragrance consultant as much as I can, but when you talk to them and they start asking you, like, which fragrances have you liked in the past, and they look at you and they try to size you up and size you down, and you say that, like, maybe you like coffee, you've liked coffee in a couple fragrances, and you don't have a coffee fragrance, maybe you would like to have one. You could message them and figure that out, and they could help you maybe find something that you like. So yeah, if you're in a bigger city, or even if you're an hour away, take advantage of that. It's kind of worth driving. If you're farther away, it might be worth actually, buying samples like I do. So anyways, Mike Hudson says, "Hey, I think a boutique." Or I read that one. Edge Dragon says, "Does a Polo Deep Blue Parfum have a metallic smell or feel to it? I watched and read some reviews and mentioned Ambroxan, but nobody mentioned anything about metallic, so I'm still wondering." Honestly, I haven't tried that one. I've thought about blind buying it. I was on a bid. I actually tried to win that one, and I almost got it for like $35 or something. No, I mean, I tried to. That's what I wanted to pay for it, but I ended up not getting it. I mean, blue fragrances are fine, but I've never been super crazy about blue stuff. And I'm sure it's a good fragrance and it's wearable, and I'm not trying to discourage you from it. I haven't heard anybody talk about a metallic vibe. It could have it, but I haven't heard anybody say that. So I cannot confirm or deny it has a metallic smell to it. I've heard people say pretty good things about that fragrance, though, and it probably would be a nice one if you can get it for a reasonable price. Um, I kept my eye on it for a little while, but it never got as cheap as I wanted it to. And I don't know, maybe it's still hovering around in that $50 range. But if you can get it for like that, $40 or maybe less, you're probably doing pretty well for yourself. So yeah, it looks good. I like Polo Supreme leather, but as far as Polo goes, I don't know. Polo Safari is really good. I think it's a real gentleman fragrance that's just not talked about. For some reason, in the fragrance community, people don't talk about it. People haven't heard about it, but it's one of the best classic men's fragrances out there. And people still buy it up. People are still loyal to the fragrance. It's still a signature scent to a lot of gentlemen out there. And I don't know why people don't want to talk about Polo Safari. It's a really nice fragrance. And the world's funny like that. So, anyways, sorry I couldn't be of too much help with the Polo Deep Blue Parfum. Again, I would have to buy a sample and probably pay, the five, six, seven, $8, $9 for a sample, or blind buy it. And maybe in the future I'll blind buy it, but I don't know. I don't want to do that too much anymore. Y'all know that I lose a bunch of money because I sell them off most of the time, and all that business. So anyways, we've been on here for about an hour. I see the comments are kind of drying up. Do y'all have any questions for me? Any thoughts, any feelings, anything y'all want to say? I'm thinking about wrapping it up. I think we've had a pretty good evening here, my friends. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of interaction, and I didn't know that I was going to be this chatty. I actually had a lot of If I do brag on myself a little bit, I think I had some good things come out of my noggin or my head. So I'm just joking with y'all, but yeah, thank y'all for being a friend. If y'all have a question, please ask real quick before I wrap this up. But I do want to thank y'all for being a friend, and y'all make this awesome. Y'all are awesome fragrance people, connecting to people all around the world. And I mean, it's awesome. I never knew that I would find so many like-minded fragrance people. And when I first got into fragrance, y'all know that I did. I mean, I'm just like y'all. I don't have anybody around me who's deep into fragrances. Really, I kind of got my dad into it. My mom likes fragrances, but she doesn't even remember the names of them. She doesn't remember the notes. She sometimes doesn't even remember what she put on wore a fragrance in the morning, even though I've given her great fragrances and my dad's given her. She has a really nice collection. She just has fun with it, but just doesn't want to think about it. And I respect that, and it helps me keep a good perspective because again, we're all different, but we all love fragrances, and that's one reason. There's a community, and I think we all have to accept each other because there's going to be people who wear a more affordable regular fragrance and have one or two fragrances and a body spray and maybe a celebrity fragrance or two, and they're not going to think about it. They're just going to wear something just to smell good, and they don't care what the notes are. They don't care how complex it is. And there's going to be all kinds of different people. There's going to be people who want great longevity, who want to get noticed, who want to be seductive and go to the parties with designer fragrances. There's going to be people who like finding the cheapies and great values and want a lot of variety and designer fragrance wise, which is a great way to go. You're getting a lot of good bang for your buck. Then you got the people who want a little bit higher end exclusive designer fragrances and might also dabble into a little bit of niche. Then you got these people who, niche wise, entry level niche, popular wearable things, but they're still niche and they're still kind of expensive. Then you got the people who really like some of the artistry and some of the more unique stuff. And then you got people who just like the really odd, obscure, strange, super expensive. They got the $1,000 Rojas. They got the fragrances that have been discontinued or made by some exclusive brand that doesn't even make it anymore, a limited edition. And the fragrance, if they were to try to sell it to somebody, it'd be worth like $2,000 and nobody even knows about it, but it's super high quality. And you got people like that, and people who only wear bespoke fragrance like a celebrity or somebody super wealthy would, so nobody smells like them. There's so many different fragrance people out there. There's so many. There's some people who only wear oils, or some people who only like indie stuff because they get the smell a little bit unusual. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, anyways, good. Just spot Oud Privé based on your review. I hope that you like it, my friend. I hope that y'all saw that. My review came out. I'm very happy with my review, and I hope that I got the word out, guys. If you like gourmand, like caramel, like incense, and you want a great fragrance for the winter, for the cold, it's going to smell cozy, having you smelling really nice. But again, it's kind of incensey. It's a great fragrance for the money, and I hope that you used the 35% off. And you probably got it for about $30 or maybe a little bit less on FragranceNet. And that's a great fragrance. I like the Nobile and the Privé, but there's actually four of them, and they're all worth the money. That's for sure. So happy that you got into it. I hope that you like it. You'll have to message me and let me know if you like it or not. The Super Fat Bass says there are a few McFaddens where I grew up in Belfast. I am a Mick as well. It means son of, and Fadden, Patrick in Irish. Well, there's a lot of different spellings. Yeah. So there's my last name, guys. Y'all got to see it, but yep, that's what I am. And let's see, is it a? You'll have to. It'd be nice if I got the text you or something. But I'd be curious to know: is it a really popular last? Is it a really? Are there a lot of McFaddens in Ireland, or is it a smaller name or a bigger name, or is there any history involved? I would love to know because I love history and I like knowing about my roots and all that. So to me, that's an important thing, and I think the Irish people are pretty awesome. I love their accents, and I like the culture as far as I can tell. So, but I do kind of lean a little bit more Celtic thinking these days. So, Randy Hayter says you have a great perspective on things. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate you and your time. Y'all are awesome as well, really friendly, and y'all make the fragrance journey fun. This makes it a really fun experience, and it makes it enjoyable when you find people who are like-minded and friendly, and people who care about each other. And thank you. I'm happy to help Randy. Super Fat Bass says, "Yeah, do your thing and keep up the niche and indie." Yeah, and I like designers too. Nothing's wrong with designers. I'm sure that I'm going to get some of them in the future when I find certain ones I want to get at a decent at the price I want to pay. But right now, I mean, there's been things I've been wanting niche wise for such a long time, and I have to save up for them. So that makes me really slow down. And again, I want to get some feedback from y'all if y'all want to message me and help me out, or let me know what you would like in a soap company, because I do want to start a fragrance company, but I think I want to start a soap company first. For some reason, I just feel that in my bones, and I'm really passionate about that, and making homemade soap, and starting from there. So let me know. Like I don't know if y'all would like real natural pieces of like lavender buds or rose petals in the soap, or if that's a corny idea. I don't know, but I have a lot of ideas, guys. Anyways, Edge Dragon says sent to the day is Guerlain the Homme Ideal EDT. Great fragrance, really good value, smells really good quality for the money. It is creeping up in price. That Guerlain, is that the regular Le Homme? Are you wearing the cologne one? I don't hear too many people talk about the regular version, and it's actually a whole line, but the Guerlain Ideal cologne seems to steal all the popularity and be the most popular out of the bunch. So, yeah, but there's actually a number of them. There's like there's how many are there? There's like 5 or 6 of them in that Guerlain Ideal line. And from what I hear, most of them are pretty decent. So Stephanie says McFadden's is my favorite whiskey bar here where I live. The Irish know what they're doing when it comes to whiskey. See, I didn't even know. So you go to a bar with my last name. Ah, that's crazy. And I would have never guessed. I would have never guessed. So there are some of my people, some of my kin people out there. So, anyways, hopefully I'll get to meet some more McFaddens, and that'd be fun. So I don't know if I look Irish, but hopefully I fit in. I do like me some potatoes, and I like the Irish. They're pretty cool. I like their accent so as well. Anyways, yeah, they do have a way. I'm not really deep into alcohol or anything, but I'd be I if I was, I probably would be more into rum and mead, and crazy stuff like that. So, do you ever look to see which actors and other celebrities share your name? Yeah, I saw some of that one point, but I don't know. Sometimes it'll tell you almost anything. Like it'll connect you to people who are like your 20th cousin, and I don't know. I don't know if I should trust some of that stuff. But yeah, it'll connect you to a celebrity. But Doctor Crush on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Y'all have to look at some of those. Gates. Okay, Doctor Crush. Yeah. And there's like a famous football player with the last name, but I don't know anything about him and his family or ancestry, and you know it's anyways. Thank y'all for having a fun time with me. Tonight was a good night, and it was kind of awkward at first, but y'all have to let me know if y'all like me walking around or not either. I kind of like to walk around again. But I'm waffling. Have a good night, everybody. Cook some wonderful food out there. Cook some potatoes for me. Have a good time. If you can, the world's kind of crazy, but even if you can't visit your family in person, Skype them, connect with your friends and family, and be social as much as you can. And sorry, the dogs are acting up, but have lots of fun. Be safe. Enjoy your fragrances and have fun, my friends. And you know, feel free to reach out to me anytime. And again, if you want to see more of me, I usually put out about 3 posts on Instagram a day. So usually, have a great evening, everybody. Stay safe and, of course, live well. And I'll see y'all next time. Have a good one, everybody. Have a good night, and I'll see y'all soon. I'll put out a video tomorrow. I think I will. I'll see y'all, everybody. Peace out and bye.